Okay, I want to talk about something I probably should be talking more about based on my background, but construction in Thailand. As my regular viewers know, I'm retired from the construction industry, studied construction and engineering and management in college, and worked in construction, building materials, manufacturing, systems design, all that my entire 35 years before I retired. So, that's kind of a big part of my background. And it took me a while to kind of get a handle on, the basic residential construction that they use here in Thailand. It's obviously extremely different. There's reasons for that. And so I'll start with kind of a little background on that a little bit, and I've got like my little list here in my handy little notebook that I take almost everywhere with me, all my various things I study and whatnot. And all this is leading to, I've come up with a tentative sort of proposed design for myself for a simple, easy to build home that's inexpensive to build because of its simplicity. And would hopefully not be super frustrating to build. If you're researching Thailand at all, or if you live here, then you know the expats get incredibly frustrated with the construction process. A lot of that's lack of knowing how to speak Thai. There's no way I'll know enough to know all the construction terms in Thai and everything. That's not going to happen. Probably a bigger divide, or at least as big, is the culture. Is just how they do things is how they do things. And, we're very well tolerated and even allowed to mingle with them. And I don't mean by allowed in any kind of negative way, but they're very accepting of us. But we're not them. By the same token, we're not Thais. And so they kind of tend to do their thing a little bit, and we're kind of left out of that loop a lot of the time, in my opinion. And I mean no disrespect to anybody by that. That's just my opinion and observation. I think that's kind of how they do it. That's just what I see. So anyways, here, first off, a lot of guys come, they build a big house right away. I'm planning on the opposite of that. I'm planning on building a small house, dragging my feet until I'm good and ready. You don't need a big house here because the weather is incredibly good all the time. And even Thailand can be hot, but there's where I'm at. I mean, I would not pick a super hot location in Thailand. I would look at the weather and pick a place that's a little bit more comfortable to you. I mean, you do not have to pick the absolute hottest spot to live in. Many people do. And that's great if that's what I don't think they're happy with that. I think they just didn't think about it, but that's their choice. Here in Nansung, suburb of Kolat, it is a little bit cooler than in some other places. There are other places much cooler than here. If you're not heat tolerant at all, look at Pak Chong, and for sure Pak Chong's got maybe the lowest temperatures in Thailand. Certainly it's got to be the top 2 or 3 at the worst, but it's probably the best. Certainly it'd be up there. And then you don't need a big place. So if you have a large shade structure, which is super cheap to build here, and they have a way they build things that's very economical. And let me talk about that, I guess. So, there's a restaurant not far from here. It's a simple outdoor restaurant like almost all of them. And it has a huge shade structure. From memory, I'm going to say 80 feet square, with a 10, 12 foot ceiling, probably 12 foot ceiling, 3 meters up. And, or is it 4? It's 4 meters, sorry, can't do math today. Anyways, something like that, it's pretty tall. And that was 100,000 baht, so that'd be 3,500 US dollars for that whole thing. They have these precast concrete posts, maybe I'll get a picture and I'll throw it in. They use those for everything. They have steel posts here. And then the structures are just simple, like 2x4, 2x3. They've got, and I think it's in inches. I think it's 2x5 square rectangular tubing. And they just weld that up kind of like you would do a stick-built home in the States out of lumber, but with welding in the steel. and then they just lay the corrugated metal on top of that, tack that down with some screws here and there, and there's your big shade structure. And if you've got, you don't want to be in the sun in Thailand for any extended period of time. You know, I mean, the sun is strong and it will make you uncomfortably hot. But if you're in the shade and there's a breeze, my point is, it's most days it's not that bad. And so I'm planning on a large shade structure and then a fairly small home itself, because the home itself, right now, by example, oh, sorry, I touched the mic. I'm in a very small apartment with my Thai wife, and you know, we have just a bedroom, a tiny hallway, kitchen, and then a place to hang some laundry, and when it's raining and stuff, and then a bathroom, and that's it. That's really it. And there's a front porch that's covered, which is a saving grace. The place wouldn't be tolerable without that porch, in my opinion. But so here for a house, I'm thinking of about tripling that, but still it's a very small place. I was looking at, I think I was looking at around 40 square meters for the actual house, and then the bang dat, the big shade structure, you know, maybe getting up another 40 for that, or you know, even a little more. But basically looking at a open room, you know, single room place basically that has a generous bed area with a sitting area off of it, one closet internal, and a bathroom, obviously, you know, inside that. And then the kitchens and laundry are often done as a courtyard out back. I would do the same thing and enclose it with screening for mosquitoes and cats and things which will come in and just cause problems. And then, of course, you know, shade on the top so it's not in the sun. Most are just right in the sun. You're just outside, and that's, you're doing your laundry, the woman's doing your cooking, and there's no comforts for them at all. And excuse me, I'm sweating a tiny bit. I'm in a building with no air conditioning in the direct sun, and it's a little bit warm today. The air's not on because I'm the only person in here. So the hot box construction here, can be quite uncomfortable. A Thai building is often quite noticeably above the outdoor ambient temperature inside. And we're going to talk about how this building of mine won't be like that. So anyway, so I'm looking at that. So simple, you know, so a courtyard out back that's screened in, and would have like a little concrete knee wall just for general security and whatnot, and then you know, roof over the whole thing, and the entire thing, the courtyard and the home and everything, total around 40 square meters. So it's pretty small. That's probably around 500 square feet or something like that. It's a pretty small place by most standards. But with a large screen porch off the front and a big overhang off to one side, which will get the afternoon shade, then you start to see where this could be very comfortable. And that screen porch essentially becomes like the family room, my smoking room, and I'm not a big smoker, but I might have a cigar once a couple weeks or something, a small one, but you get the idea. I can sit out there and read, enjoy the breeze, enjoy the views, and very tall ceilings. I like big airy structures, and traditionally older buildings way back hundreds of years ago had very tall ceilings because they were aware that heat would rise, and it does create natural cooling. If you build a room with a very tall ceiling, that room will be amazingly cool. There's almost always a mixture of warm and cool air in any room, and there by definition have to be, and the bigger room volume you have, the more that cooler air will just sink to the bottom, and we stand on the floor. We don't fly up in the air, so we get all the cool air. And it's a rather dramatic effect. Don't think I'm some pie in the sky pipe smoking thing here. That's very real. If you take two rooms side by side and put a very tall ceiling in one, you will absolutely, unquestionably notice a big difference which room is cooler. So, and it's free. And it isn't so much the economy, because electricity, despite what I read on the internet, electricity is cheap here. But I don't like to have to have the windows closed all the time. I like breeze, I like air, I like open, I like easy breezy. I don't like being in a box. So I didn't come to Thailand to sit inside in the air conditioning. I could sit inside in the heat back in the States. That's almost the same thing. So you get the idea. So let's talk a little bit about the building materials I want to use. Okay, well there's the end of part one right there. Looks like we're running right to 10 minutes full, so that's pretty good part one. No. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.